Hey guys, Jack here, Obsessed Fishing, coming at you with another Tackle Warehouse unboxing. This one is going to be my early spring unboxing. These are baits that I'm going to be throwing in the early spring, from usually late February until about early April here in Virginia. That's when those water temperatures are going to be between, somewhere in those mid-50s to low 60s range. Those fish are going to be mostly pre-spawn, some spawning. Mostly this is that pre-spawn winter, that is when that transition from that cold winter into now we're starting to warm up and the fish are about to spawn. So these are the baits that I'm going to be throwing. Hope you learned something today, guys. I hope these unboxings aren't just, oh, here's a bunch of stuff. I hope I'm going to be going through the baits and why I got them for this time of year, what I like to do with them. Hopefully you'll learn something or see something you're interested in and want to try yourself. So stay tuned. Alright, some of the first baits on the list are some craw baits. Here I have the Zoom Ultra Vibe Speed Craw. These are in watermelon red candy. It's a lot of flake. It's a really natural color of watermelon, but a lot of flake in it. That flake's gonna catch in the sunshine. The reason I picked this bait is because I like it as a trailer on other baits like chatterbaits and swim jigs, and also just it's a kind of a thin craw. It's really gonna have a kind of a natural look. If you throw it on a shaky head or light line or Texas rig, it's just because it has this natural subtle look and it has a good amount of action though. These fish are starting to warm up. This is probably gonna be more of an active bait, but I picked it because I put it in this unboxing just because I really felt you couldn't leave it out. When we're going along with craws, you cannot say no to a Rage Craw. Craw baits work all the time of the year, and the Rage Craw is one of the best. I love the bait. Probably one of my favorite things about the Rage Craw is simply the packaging, not the color or anything. It's this certain type of packaging. I can't remember what it's called. They do it with some swim baits. Really, I think it's the only way plastic baits should be packaged, individually sealed off. It's going to keep those claws from getting really jumbled up and messed up. With most Zoom baits, I gotta go in when I get the package. The first thing I do is rearrange the baits in the package so that the claws don't get crimped. With this, that's never a problem, and it really actually keeps it really compact, which means your storage space is really good. So really love Rage Craw. This is in watermelon red color, a natural color, because I fish a lot of clear water, and this time of year the water tends to be clear, so a natural color craw bait is going to work well. Next up, we have some beaver baits from Missile. These are the Beaver Bombs. These are the full size. I've got some in several colors here. I've got this one in Bruiser Flash. It's a really cool color. It's a black and bluish style color for the more dirty waters. And then I've got one here, and this is in Green Pumpkin Blue. I love green pumpkin with purple or blue flake in it. It's just one of my favorite colors, so I think this is going to work really well. I've had some great success with Missile baits recently, so I can't wait to try out these full-size versions in the spring. Next, we have even more Missile baits, D-bombs, and these are the baby D-bomb. I love the baby D-bombs. In fact, my biggest fish ever on a D-bomb was a baby one, the baby size. So I got some here. One, it packs in just regular green pumpkin, and the other is in candy grass, I believe. Yes. So this one's more of a watermelon base, more translucent color with a lot of purple and green flake in it. Really natural looking. And green pumpkin, that standard dark color. Two different variations of a natural color. I really can't wait to throw them. I think they're both gonna work great. Next up, for that pre-spawn time of year, I'm gonna go with the swim bait. These are the Kitech 4.8-inch fat size swim baits. And these swim baits are really good. I love the way these are packaged. These baits are not going to get crimped. Swim baits, that's always been one of the major problems with most swim baits. This color here is a Silver Flash Minnow. It's kind of a darker back with some green and gold flake in it, and a kind of a pearl belly. It looks like a really great color. Can't wait to get this out. I'm going to be throwing this either on a weighted swim bait hook shallow or on a big jig head deeper water. Really depends where you find those fish. But sometimes when those fish are moving up, a swim bait can be a really great pre-spawn bait. Next up, we've got some chatterbaits. Chatterbaits, if you guys don't know, are one of my absolute favorite baits. So I had to pick up some for that pre-spawn time of year. Something about a chatterbait just works really, it works all the time of the year, but pre-spawn is one of those times that it really seems to excel. So I got some of my two favorite colors here, chartreuse and white and green pumpkin. These two here are in 1/2 ounce. These are going to be fishing these deeper. This one's in 3/8 ounce. I love chatterbaits. I'm going to be throwing these, everywhere I go. That blade, the thing about a chatterbait is it has something about that blade action just is really, really good. It's kind of a great mix. A lot of people use it instead of a lipless crankbait now. Because that blade is tilted up, it's gonna have a little bit of lift to the bait. So unlike a lipless crankbait, which is a nice subtle vibration that works really well in cold water or pre-spawn type conditions, that weighted bait's gonna drag down into grass. The nice thing about a chatterbait is it stays out of grass really well because it has that nice lift, but you can still let it touch the grass, and it can be worked more effectively through cover. And I think it's just something about the chatterbait is just a fish catching machine. You can never not have one. If you guys have never tried a chatterbait, go try one. These are the chatterbait elites, and I'm gonna recommend, even if you're on a budget, go with the chatterbait elites. Here's why. I used the regular chatterbait for 2 years, and I love the chatterbait's fish catching ability. It caught fish amazing. Here's what it didn't do. Hold up great. The hook quality on the regular chatterbaits is terrible. It will bend out on you. It'll, one or two fish and it's bending out, and I'm sharpening it, and I have to set the hook really hard to drive it home. Other things, the swivels usually aren't that great. There are no plastic keepers on the original chatterbait, and no skirt keepers. I've had fish rip the skirts off my chatterbaits. That's just a pain in the butt. And so I finally paid the extra $1, $2 to get a chatterbait elite, and it has those 3 things are what I'm looking for. It has a skirt keeper to keep the skirt on. It has a trailer keeper to keep my trailers on for once, and I'm not like gluing them and putting them back on every 2 seconds. And it has a Gamakatsu hook. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe how much better this hook is. It's so much stronger, so much sharper. And Gamakatsu is, honestly one of my absolute favorite hooks, probably my favorite bread hook. So I've got a ton of confidence in these. That's why I went to the elites. So if you've never tried one, pick up a chatterbait elite, pick up some 3/8 ounce chatterbaits elites in chartreuse and white and green pumpkin, and just throw them around. For you budget anglers, spending $7 on a bait may seem like a lot, but when you realize what you're getting, if you get the original, if you get into fishing enough, you'll realize that the original, it has a great action, but the components are just junk. They fixed all those problems. Next up, we got a crankbait here. This is a Rapala DT6. A DT6 is gonna have a pretty subtle action. It's gonna work really well. So I'm super excited to throw this one. This is in bluegill color. I've thrown these before, and I've got some good fish, so figured I'd pick up another one for that early spring season. While we're still talking about early spring crankbaits, you cannot leave out a wiggle wart, which is why I picked up a few more. These are gonna be really great in clear water and round rocks. I've had some great success with them, and they're just fish catchers. So I went ahead and picked up a few more. One in green craw, red brown craw, and this new color, it's I'm trying to remember it again. Phantom peanut butter and jelly. And actually, I've noticed there's a crawfish trap that's sitting around one of the docks in a cove. In this certain cove at the Smith Mountain Lake that's just left there. And every now and then I'll pick it up and look in, and the crawdads in there I've noticed are very much distinct brown with purple/blue accents on their claws and sometimes their belly. So I feel like when I saw this color, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get that, because this is Smith Mountain is where I throw this bait, and so if I get a color that perfectly mimics it, that's it right there. So I cannot wait to try this one and see what happens. Next up, we got some striking red-eye shads. Lipless crankbaits are really great fish catchers, especially in that pre-spawn season. They work really well. So I went with a few more here. This one here is in IU. It's a 1/2 ounce. This one's in green gizzard shad, and this one is a 1/4 ounce in sexy ghost minnow. Great looking colors, great looking baits. I've had great success. I'm gonna be throwing these. I really like lipless because they tend to have they don't have a big bill. They have a really tight wiggle, which really tends to work well in cooler waters. So, okay, here we go. Here's some of the good stuff. RC Sticks jerkbaits by Lucky Strike. These are the Rick Klon Signature Series jerkbaits. I love these for pre-spawn bass fishing. They just flat out catch them. So I picked some of my most successful colors. Emerald Shiner, which is actually my most successful color. And then I picked up Black Star the Shad, which is another great successful color that I've had. I love these jerkbaits. I can't stress enough. If you have never tried fishing a suspending jerkbait, if you have fished clear water, if you fish rocks, wood, suspending fish, you've got to try these. They work amazing. Something about them and the pre-spawn just go hand in hand, which is why I can't stress enough, these are pre-spawn baits that I like. I almost never pick these up. After winter and the pre-spawn, I pretty much never pick up a jerkbait again until that time. But when it is the pre-spawn season, I never put it down. I'm always throwing a jerkbait. Next on the list, I got some Zoom trick worms. Here, these are in watermelon, just some watermelon seed. I absolutely, if you guys don't know, if you haven't seen my videos, I'm a fanatic for trick worms. I throw them all the time, and watermelon is probably my absolute favorite color. Caught more fish on this than anything else. It's crazy. I love these. But in the pre-spawn, the main way I'm going to be rigging this is on a shaky head. So I picked up some shaky heads. These are Strike King tool grade shaky head. These are 1/8 ounce. The reason I went with these than my usual BMC is because they come with quality Gamakatsu hooks, and the hook keeper is just a little bit more, because it's more melded into the head, it tends to hold plastics on a little better. I love my BMCs, but I've had some close calls with fish almost coming off with them. So I've had problems with they work generally well, but I've used the Strike King before as well, and they seem to be a little bit better. They cost them more, but I feel they're worth it. Shaky head just flat out catches fish, but when they're in that cooler water, it can just be dynamite. While we're talking finesse game, you gotta talk drop shot. And this one, drop shot is absolutely one of my favorites, and it works extremely well in the pre-spawn. I got some Robo Worms in Aaron's Magic. This is one of my favorite colors, works really well, caught some really nice fish on it. And then I got some of these Zoom Z drops. These are in Purple Smoke. It's gonna be more of a smaller, finesse shad pattern. So when you're throwing a drop shot, you gotta get some terminal tackle. And my favorite hook by far is the Robo Worm rebarb hook. These hooks, this is for Texas rigging your drop shots. And honestly, that's virtually the only way I fish a drop shot is Texas rig. You know, maybe with these smaller 4-inch ones, I'm gonna nose hook it, but for the most part, with the Robo Worm, I'm gonna Texas rig it because it's gonna allow me to throw my bait in the other places that other people might not throw their drop shot. And these hooks are light wire, they're strong, and they're sharp. They penetrate those worms. Robo Worms are soft. Don't think just because you're Texas rigging it and you're fishing finesse that it's not gonna penetrate that worm. Those worms are soft. These hooks are sharp. My hookup ratio is very high with the drop shot and these hooks, so I had to pick some of those up. And my favorite size drop shot weight to start off is just a 3/8 ounce. These are the finesse drop shot weights. They're more cylindrical, so they're gonna come through cover a bit better. These tend to be my preference. If I had to pick one size, I'd probably go with 3/16 ounce. Next, we've got some swim jigs. Tour grade Strike King, tour grade swim jigs. And if you guys, again, if you haven't seen my videos, you're missing out because you know that I love these. So, and I love them in cool water. Here's why. Because in my mind, I treat a swim jig like a finesse or chatterbait. It doesn't have as much flash or very, very little vibration, so it's just really subtle, really natural, and it just catches me giant fish. It catches me fish in the toughest conditions. I mean, I cannot say enough about the swim jig. My favorite size by far is the 1/4 ounce. And I like the 1/4 because I'm usually fishing this slow, subtle, and I'm just kind of crawling it along. And so I don't want it burying up in grass and cover. And a 1/4 ounce for some, I mean, it's just, I've had no problems with it. Most conditions I'm going to be throwing a swim jig, I'm going to be throwing a 1/4. I got some in 3 colors. Bluegill, which is the color I really, really love. Blue Craw, which is a color I've been trying more recently and I've been loving. And then just a straight white. So 3 great colors. And to match up with those, I got some Kitech 4-inch swing impact green pumpkin color to match up. In the cooler water, I tend to like more of a single swim bait style trailer, just a little bit more subtle than say a Craw trailer, which has a lot more action. So that's usually my choice in the cooler water. So I went with a pack of those. Winding down here, we've got some terminal tackling for these plastics back here. We've got some Strike King 1/4 ounce tour grade tungsten. Tungsten is a great weight because it's super dense, it's smaller than lead, which is going to make it more sensitive. If you can feel more with it, you're going to feel the bottom more, and in the end, if you can feel the bottom better, you're going to feel bites better, and you're going to learn more about why those fish are there. You know, if I can feel gravel versus shells, then maybe that will help me get on a pattern that other people might not get on. And because it's smaller, it's going to look more natural rather than some giant weight sticking on the front of your bait. And so to go with those plastics, like the Beaver Baits and Craws, I got some 5/0 extra wide gap hooks for Gamakatsu. Love Gamakatsu hooks, and 5/0 is a great size to throw those big beaver baits on. So can't wait to get to it. And lastly, we have a 3/8 ounce striking hack attack jig in Summer Craw. This is just a natural green color. Me fishing this, throwing under docks, throwing around rocks, just throwing anywhere I think those bass are gonna be hiding. Jigs are just a great bait all the time, but cooler water, it excels a lot. So glad to have one of these with me. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. I hope you learned something about some of the baits that I like to use in the pre-spawn. Hopefully you'll be seeing these in fish's mouths in some upcoming videos this spring. I hope you, and if you like the video, go ahead and like it. I appreciate your support, that would mean a lot to me. And just guys, share your favorite pre-spawn early spring baits in the comments below. Tell me your favorite. Maybe I'll go out and try them in some future videos. But hopefully if you go out and try any of these baits yourself and you have success with them, go ahead and also let me know. If you like any of these baits or if you've had personal success with them, I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. God bless, tight lines, and I'll see you next time. Peace. No, I'm not going to do that. That's like really punk. Just edit that out. Bye.